You know when you walk and sometimes you can see little doors on the trees. You know, one of these. Or this. Or this. You know what I mean. I saw one of them and it got me thinking, what is the history behind them? One quick Google search away, I quickly found it was called a fairy door. In short, it's a small door to a fairy realm. People tend to leave small letters, notes, and gifts to the fairies behind them, if you can open them. In not so short way, it's part of Celtic mythology, mostly related to Ireland. The fairies are actually called Oss-she,
Is she?
just to be sure. In the stories it says that they used to live in our world, but humans forced them out. Some of the fairies went to live in the underground, mounts, another world, also known as the fairy world, or a parallel world to ours that is invisible to us. This is where the doors come into play. These little fairy doors are connections to the fairy world, or the underground fairy settlements. You would think that fairies would be small by the size of the doors you see, but that is a misconception, and they could come in any sizes and shapes. In some legends it states that they can change their appearance at will, so no matter the size of the door, the fairy will always fit through it. In a sense, fairies are always playing hole in the wall game. While looking at the fairy doors, I got curious if anyone is doing anything similar, and found out that in Iceland they build little houses for the elves. However, in Iceland it's a little different. The elves are actually called Huldufolk. I probably killed the pronunciation.
Huldufólk.
Yeah, not even close. It roughly translates to hidden people or elves. They look very similar to humans and live in a parallel world and can make themselves visible if they wanted. When you think about it, it doesn't sound that different from the Irish fairies, probably because both countries are relatively close. Relatively. The biggest difference is that fairy doors are built as a bridge of communication, and elf houses are built as a warning that Huldufolk live there and you shouldn't disturb them. I find it funny that instead of a sign, someone thought better build a small house to warn people that some invisible folk live here. From the information I found about them, you really don't want to annoy them. In 1971, they were trying to build a road and bulldozer broke down. It was believed that the elves who lived in the nearby rock did it as a retribution for disturbing their area. It is really cool how some cultures have quirks like that. It makes me wonder, are there more cases around the world where people build little constructions for mythological creatures from their culture? Thanks for listening to my ramblings.